Ladies and gentlemen, will there be a financial crisis? Is one looming around the corner? Well, the truth is we certainly don't have a crystal ball. However, what we do have are very critical data points that deserve attention and patterns that are worth paying attention to, because these patterns are repeating today and they have repeated every time in history preceding a major financial crisis. So it's worth paying attention to, and we'll talk about that. But we'll start here. In February 2026, several major bank executives, most notably Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase, made some statements, and he suggested that the current market conditions that we're seeing resemble the period leading up to the 2008 global financial crisis. And he was pointing towards elevated asset prices and AI-driven euphoria, increasingly risky lending practices, and things of that nature. Now, while all those risks are true and certainly real and really visible to anybody paying attention at this point, I really don't place much weight on what they say and these widely circulated statements like this, especially coming from mainstream media channels and these big notable authorities and talking heads that get the spotlight. Okay, I don't place much weight on that, and I have my reasoning for that, which I've explained many times. But simply it's because by this point they're only highlighting what's already obvious, okay, missing a lot of context behind the surface that actually matters more to give investors an edge. They're always late to report the story. So more importantly, they're not telling you the full story. They're leaving out a lot of missing pieces by design. So what tends to be overlooked and what they're not mentioning is that the dynamics that led to every major financial crisis and that led to the problems we're seeing today in the markets and the economy are structural imbalances in the system that were already building up and already in motion, even before the Iran conflict and all the geopolitical issues. So regardless of whatever narrative happens to be in focus, they're missing a lot of pieces of the story by design. So while these executives and talking heads may be pointing out surface level risks that are obvious at this point, they're not necessarily providing deeper, more important context that actually gives retail investors a serious edge in the market. And in many cases, again, this is by design. They're not allowed to say certain things at certain times. But the real driver of systemic risk are rarely framed in a way that allow the broader public to fully understand what's coming. Okay, they love layers of complexity, and that's by design to keep you as exit liquidity and missing the big picture. Now, I'm going to break this down further, but before I continue, if you're interested in investing in digital assets, gaining exposure to different cryptocurrencies or even precious metals, whether that's buying, trading, selling, or rolling over a 401k, I've pointed many people towards iTrustCapital. It's a platform that I personally use myself. It's user-friendly. They have a wide range of different assets and different selections, and they're continuously adding more. And they also just announced support for RLUSD, which is Ripple's stablecoin. And for all their precious metals, gold and silver, they are fully allocated, and you can request it for delivery if you choose to do so. And I put the link in the description below. Now back to what we were saying. Based on all the data and all the patterns playing out in the market, in the system, economically speaking, in my view, at this point, a financial market crash and financial crisis is unavoidable. Now, not because of one specific event, but the truth is because structural issues are already in the system and they have been building for a long time now. And currently, because of that, the global financial system has basically reached a level of fragility where the foundation is becoming weak and shaky, where conventional policy can no longer prevent the outcome, okay? Regardless what path we take, the outcome is the same at this point. All they can do at this point is delay it. And that's what's expected to happen from anybody paying attention. And to be clear, I'm not trying to be sensational here, okay? That's not my intention. I'm not interested in that. I want to give you alpha. And I want you to understand where we really are in the grand scheme of things, where we are in the macro cycle, and really recognize the risks and where they are, okay? I want you paying attention to what actually matters, because there's signals and there's noise. In fact, to be honest, I'm very optimistic about certain asset classes. And as the cycle evolves, I'll become even more optimistic. But it's important to manage risk and recognize where the risks are and the opportunities are. But again, at the same time, it's difficult to ignore how much effort is really being put into diverting people's attention away from the underlying risks and the real structural problems in the system. And they're doing this, diverting attention through selective narratives, media framing, how the data is presented, tampering with the metrics and giving you flawed data. So they're trying to mislead people by design. But the reality is this: the conditions that led to previous financial crises are already in place. It's unstoppable at this point, okay? It's inevitable. Currently, these are the risks we have. We have bond market issues, okay, which is the heart of the entire financial system. That is showing structural issues at its core. That's already happening. We have issues building up in the private credit markets, okay? This could destroy liquidity in the whole system. We're also, on top of that, operating at record levels of global leverage, okay? So over $300 trillion in debt, which basically introduces a significant amount of fragility into the financial system. And this can spill over into other markets. On top of that, when leverage reaches these levels across households, corporations, and even governments, the truth is this, and they don't want you to know this, but it does not take much at that point to create instability in the whole system and crash the markets. And that alone, just that, what I just mentioned, can crash markets alone and create a global liquidity contraction. But on top of that, at the same time, the national debt is at record levels, already above $39 trillion, and continuing to rise alongside persistent deficits with exponential growth in the interest that comes with it, which means the system is increasingly resilient on borrowed money just to survive. And that's why we keep saying the system is on artificial life support. Now, which means the pressure in the system is already building up, and we are already on borrowed time. On top of all of that, to put the icing on the cake, we're also in an AI bubble. This is not just speculation, we really are. We're seeing pockets of speculative excess in areas like, as I said, artificial intelligence, where the valuations and expectations have really begun to completely detach fundamentals from reality. And that's what we're seeing in the AI market. And that's why there's a huge divergence between the real economy and the financial markets still at all-time highs, okay? And that's the truth. And on top of all of that, we have geopolitical tensions, okay? The conflict overseas with Iran, energy problems, but all this conflict continuing to escalate and drag on by design. And historically, these types of conflicts, geopolitically speaking, and environments that we're seeing today have always been engineered catalysts. And basically what they do is they add to the problem already that we have, and they accelerate the moves that were already in motion. And that's typically what happens when the financial system is running into trouble. You start to see new narratives, geopolitical issues arise out of nowhere. So beneath all of this, there are already very clear data points that I said we should pay attention to, which I just mentioned, and clear economic weakness beginning to really show itself, and it's becoming undeniable in the economic data, from revised GDP prints to the job data and structural issues in the bond market, private credit markets, and now energy. So when you put all of this together, big picture perspective, this is not about one single trigger. It's about a system that has been building pressure over time for a while now and is now basically approaching the point in its economic cycle where the pressure will soon have to be released. And that is in the form of a financial crisis and a market crash, okay, for it to reset. So despite all the short-term relief rallies you might see in the crypto market, the stock market, I'm not buying it, okay? I'm not buying that this is a new bull market right now. All of the data we look at suggests that both the market and the real economy are basically not in a strong position at the moment, and that will change eventually, and a great opportunity will arise. But I'm not seeing that right now, and I think it's only a matter of time before that reality of the system and the economic stress is actually fully reflected in the financial markets. So this is something I break down much more deeper in greater detail, along with how I'm navigating this transition across the crypto market and the broader macro landscape. I talk about all of this with my analysis and my long-term thesis in my weekly report and in my private financial market intelligence group. If you want deeper clarity, you could find the links to the report and the group in the description below. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, while we can't know the exact timing at this point of when this financial crisis will occur, but it's inevitable, the data is there to support it, we can't know when exactly what happened, but what we can do is recognize the risks and really understand where we are in the cycle to give us a sense of what comes next on a balance of probabilities. And the probability of a crisis and a financial market crash is extremely high at this point. Why? Because the underlying dynamics that have led to every major financial crisis are already here and already in motion. And also the patterns are showing that as well as they're repeating. So what this is really about is understanding where we are in the cycle and what's happening now, so you can prepare for it. And it's important to understand that this isn't abnormal. Just be mindful of that. It's inherent to the structure of the entire debt-based system. We basically go through extremes from one point to the other, booms, busts, and this is basically a natural rhythm of the debt-based system. You get periods of easy credit and excess optimism, extreme euphoria, and eventually it reverses course and you get moments where reality basically reasserts itself and you get crises, maximum fear, and of course opportunity. And the market finds its way somewhere down there and the cycle repeats. And that cycle will continue to repeat as long as we're on a debt-based system that requires constant debt expansion and credit creation. And the greater distortions that we're going to see will be created by policy support, and that will come later most likely. But at the end of the day, what we're seeing now all hints towards a financial crisis actually coming very soon. We just don't know where it is. But it's very clear at this point that the cycle is simply running out of road, and we are currently in the melt-up phase, and it's about to get even more interesting in my opinion, before the cycle and stage resets itself and conditions begin to shift. But also, before I wrap this up, it's also worth remembering that bubbles, and what we're seeing now, many asset classes are in a bubble, can further expand. And one bubble can turn into a bigger bubble, and that can eventually continue before it breaks, which is why timing requires discipline, not emotion, and you have to understand where the risks actually lie and where the opportunities are. So the goal should not be to react to every headline, every narrative, and get caught in all the noise, because there's a difference from noise and signal, okay? But what's important to understand is what's actually happening beneath the surface, recognizing where the real risks are, and more importantly, where the opportunities will be as the cycle plays out. That's all I got for you guys today. If you like this video, give me a like. If not, that's okay, but take care of yourself and I'll see you soon.